In today's video I have this Sony amplifier. This one I just bought for parts. It was like a $10 special. Knob broken off the front. It is a STR-DG510. So unknown if it works or not. I've just taken the cover off to have a quick look. Bit of dust in it as you'd expect, and quite a bit of rust on the transformer. A few other signs of corrosion on the smaller transformer, and a bit of shielding down there for the remote receiver or sockets or something. The rest of it doesn't look too bad. This one's got HDMI on it. Not sure what year this thing came out, but it's probably a good 10 or more years old now, I guess. From the look of it, I think it's got digital inputs, and also I think it says RDS, so the digital tuner, I think. Dolby Digital Pro Logic. DTS, so it's got DTS. So you can hook up a calibration microphone. Bit of damage to the knob as well, but for the price it's worth buying just for the output transistors. You've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of those, so $1 each for them, and you can throw the rest away and be quite happy with your purchase. It's got some weird sort of looking, almost thick film kind of blobs on heatsink. Looks like the drivers for the output transistors. Probably a standby relay there, and I can see another, looks like 4, 3 there, and another one 4. Probably speaker protection relays. What is it, a 5-channel, I guess. Front, surround, and center, as well as that's, I think, A/B switching. I noticed there, front B, because we've got here speaker off A/B switch. Auto calibration, that's just if you put the microphone in there in your room in a particular position, it'll set itself up direct, which is good. Means you can use it as a stereo amp potentially, assuming it works. So it's got speaker protectors in it. I guess that should mean it's pretty safe. Don't really need to measure the DC on it. No sign of any display. Oh, the speakers on off. That won't help. Hit the right button and we get something. So I don't think that even had a standby light on it. Completely dead. So it doesn't even let you know it's got power. Probably no real need for that, to be honest. So I've got FM radio there. Now did those, oh there we go, speakers clicked in. They're very slow, a lot of these Sonys for some reason. But something went click in the end. Oh, hook it up and see what it does, I guess. We have a SACD input. Get the CD player going, and looks like top and bottom connections for your front A, left and right. So they're not side by side there, one above the other, as is often the case with these home theatres. They do them a bit different. I guess they kind of group all the various sets of speakers in together in clumps sort of thing. Although they could do one up and one lower, I guess, for front and rear. Power back on. Wait for the relays to click in. Took a little while. Oop, that took a little while too. So it sounds like we've probably got tuner working. But what frequency on? How do we tune out there? That's going to go auto tuning away. Wait, stop. How do I change the mode? Not tuning mode. Get rid of auto. Yeah, preset. It's either auto or preset. Well, that's a lot of friggin' use, isn't it? How do we change? Probably looks like I have to use a screwdriver as an input selector. Now, what input was I on? CDS, SACD. Yeah, we seem to be wired for sound alright. So the tuner seems to work, that input works. So I don't think there's anything really wrong with this thing other than someone's broken the knob off and damaged it a little bit. Don't think at the moment I'll bother testing all the HDMI and stuff, but at least I know it's a good stereo amp. So again, it's probably a bit too good to use as a parts machine. Now we've got the shaft in here at least, so I reckon I can just put a screw in there, and thankfully they're hollow. If they're not hollow, you just drill a hole in them and put a screw in, and yeah, it's quite tight. And probably see if we can glue this back on again. The problem is it's broken off right where the metal is there, so you can't really afford any glue coming out the side. So this might be a job for a bit of the good old farm fencing wire fix. I'll just actually poke something down inside it, I think, and try and glue it into the inside, because then I can do this half separate anyway, and then put a bit of glue in the other one and sort of push it down in there so it doesn't all come out everywhere. So that might actually be handy, having a hollow shaft, although if it wasn't hollow it probably wouldn't have broke as easy in the first place. So I'll see if I can find some wire for that. Okay, with a bit of poking around, I found this bit of fencing wire, which was a bit of hinge joint fencing offcut. I just cut them up and use them as tie wires, but that fits just nice and tight in there, so it should be the same in the other bit. A little looser in that bit, surprisingly, but that's probably perfect. It'll hold onto this one nicely. It's not too thick, so I can basically just get the old fencing pliers here and watch my fingers that I don't chop anything, pinch anything in there. But oh, there goes that bit flying. So now I've got a bit of metal. It might be a little bit too long. Let's see, it's probably close. Yeah, it goes in fine. So I could just shove that in there. It's quite a tight fit there. You could almost get away without doing anything with that. That's nice and strong too, so it's not going to break off again in a hurry. I might even put the slightest smear of glue around. I think I'll glue it inside this bit first. Slight smear of glue. Or actually put some maybe down in there, and some on the end of the wire, poke it down in there. And yeah, maybe even just on there, put a very slight smearing just where the faces meet. If I get it in exactly the same spot, I'll just check it looks fairly straight, because you don't want a wonky looking knob. Let's use the old 5-minute araldite. Yeah, I can never work out which way they go back. That's it. I think I'll just glue both bits together. Throw it to the wind a bit rather than take the cautious approach. Let's just stick the thing together once and for all. That's given me a little bit of coating there. May need a little bit more araldite. If that's a little loose, might do the job. It doesn't have to be super strong. Whoops, we've got a bit of glue coming out where I don't want it. Of course it did. Try and keep that from gluing the shaft to the metalwork there. Yeah, that's about perfect, I think. Did we get a little bit more glue coming out? Yeah, it's a little bit. Anyway, I'm sure it'll break if need be. We can let that dry a little bit and then rotate it to make sure it breaks. I might even sit that on its back. So gravity doesn't do anything weird. And I'll give that a few minutes, and then I might just get the knob on the very end and just tweak it a little bit. Make sure it's alright. Okay, this is set for a while now, and I did give it a couple of tweaks just to make sure it didn't glue the shaft in place. to the collar around it. I think we're pretty safe just to put that on. And that works perfectly well, doesn't look at all bent, maybe ever so slightly eccentric. It is ever, yeah, just a little bit out maybe, but that's pretty good. The encoder seems alright. I did get a bit of plastic or metal polish onto this, and I think it's cleaned it up a little bit better, but yeah, ideally it'd be nice to have a new knob for the thing. And yeah, this display, I gave that a clean, and that's got quite a bit of scratching on it. That might try a bit of polish on that as well. So this thing's taken a bit of a drop, or someone's banged something into it or something. Whatever it was, probably in the storage. I don't think it's going to come up anywhere near perfect, but for just a kickabout amp or something, it's, you know, for $10 and a little bit of work, you can't complain. Definitely too good to turn into a parts pile, I think. That's getting rid of some of it. Well, that's adding micro sort of scratches in its place, but that's probably better than these massive scratches. I don't think from a distance it's going to be all that noticeable, but better than the really noticeable ones. Yeah, far from perfect, but that's not too bad. Yeah, when you put it down and you're not seeing the light shining on it, really doesn't show at all. But yeah, knob's not the best by any means, but I'll give it a test sometime and make sure the HDMI inputs and stuff work, because I probably could use this as a bit of a home theatre setup type of thing, just in the shed to switch a couple of different sources to the TV and stuff. There's one more bit I missed there. But yeah, it seems to be all working well, so it could be quite a nice little amp. Be interesting to see how hot this thing gets just sitting around. But at least this one's got a bit bigger case on it than some of them. It's not quite as jammed in, and all the caps and stuff in there look pretty good, and like they haven't been too hot, even though they are mounted up against these resistors, wire wound resistors near the outputs, and not the ideal place for them. But I noticed they've mounted the drivers well away, and yeah, there's probably a good reason for that, and the caps aren't too close to them, so it looks a bit better than that other one I fixed, which was all jammed into a smaller box. So that'll be this one for now. So I'll give this thing a proper test, but it all seems to, I reckon it'll all be working fine. So thanks for watching.